Hello everybody, I'm here today to talk about the Thetford Porta Potti. I've seen quite a few videos on YouTube. It sold me. I purchased this porta potty to use on camping and road trips. I have some young kids and it's helpful to have based on various situations that you might encounter on a camp out or on a long road trip. So there are a couple things that I noticed about this that I wanted to share. I haven't seen these in other videos and I really like this product, but wanted to offer a couple of these real world scenarios while traveling with kids. Alright, so when there's something in the bowl of the toilet, I'm going to push this just to fill it up a little bit more. There goes the water. And let's say this is human waste instead of water. When you pull this lever, anytime the bowl is open, you will smell odors coming up from the waste tank if there's an odor in there. So your instinct is to pull this lever quickly so you don't have to smell anything. If you pull it too quickly though, water sometimes splashes up from the quick force of this lever moving. So I've learned to always close this lid when you flush just to be safe. Or if you're sitting on the toilet, make sure that you gently move the lever back and forth. Okay, now you can see the toilet paper is out and the top is clean. So let me see if I can do a demo here. So if you've got water in there and you go like this too fast, you can end up splashing the seat a little bit. And as you probably can't see with the low resolution of this camera, but there are some water splashes. So if that were human waste, you would not be too happy right now. So make sure when you do this, just as a recommendation of your average user, don't do that, because you can splash waste up onto the top of this, the seat. Nice and slow, and that'll avoid that problem. Another thing that might be helpful to you is the cap that you take off to add water to the flushing tank. Comes with a funnel that Thetford provides that you put on. So this funnel is fine if you have maybe a watering can or something, but I recommend getting a longer funnel, and this is what I now use to fill the holding tank. The reason being is that if I have this in the back of a van or a vehicle or something, this allows me to stand up and fill, farther away from the actual toilet, or even outside of the rim, the edge of the bumper of the car. So something that could save you a little bit of a water problem is having a funnel on hand. One of the most important tips that might help you decide how you're going to use this product is just to realize that the bottom holding tank holds, I think, around 5 gallons, and that's fine, but when you end up with 5 gallons of waste in here, it gets kind of heavy. So something that I think is really helpful, and this is why I made this video, because I have seen a lot of other videos, is even though this tank can hold 5 gallons of waste, I don't think it's worth waiting for it to get to that point. I tried that. I tried after 3 days. This tank got heavy, and yes, I was able to clean it out, but it took me a lot of time because after you dump it, you have to rinse it out several times to get the 3 or 4 or 5 days of waste totally removed. On my most recent trip, anytime I had a child that needed this, I emptied it the same day, regardless if there was 1 deposit in there or 2. Even though I had to use a brand new Thetford dry pack every time you empty it, it was just so much easier to empty 1 pound than it was to empty, I don't know, 15 pounds of whatever it is, or 10 pounds for that matter. Alright, so I'm going to take the top off by sliding this lever over. I'm going to put the camera down for a second and do that. Once you have your holding tank disconnected, you don't have to worry about it leaking. This, the flush mechanism cannot open. It can only open when attached to the seat. So as I mentioned, you'll see you'll have to swish it around a little bit if you have solids in there to kind of get it all loose, or to get the bottom material ready to come out the emptying valve, which is up here. So this is the only place that the waste can exit the chamber. Alright, so you'll unscrew this. Now again, another reason to empty this as frequently as possible. I find it's worth blowing through those aqua packs, even though you're going to spend more money on them. If this is filled up to here, when you open this, the pressure, and if you start to move this just a little bit, the pressure of the water and the waste can force waste product out of this valve sooner than you might want to get it into the tilt position. I'm always going to empty this chamber as frequently as possible. It's, for me, emptying 3 days of human waste was a bigger job than it is to empty just 1 cycle, so to speak, of human waste. Now, I do not have any solid waste in this, so it's not going to be too gross to watch. So again, you open up the top valve. Make sure you keep it upright as much as possible, because as soon as if this were filled to the top, this would be the pressure, it'd be ready to overflow. So now I can turn this, because I don't have much in it, and you see that turning. As soon as this starts filling, it's a much bigger problem. So I have a lot more range of motion without anything overflowing, because I have very little in here. And then I can just pour this in. You'll see it's sort of a green color. Again, there's no solid waste in here. So this is really, right now at this stage, it's mostly water that you're dealing with. And even if there was any solid in there, it's way easier and manageable to use 1 day or 1 cycle of waste. And I keep saying that over and over because that was a tremendous help to me, and then I can just flush that down.